Each year, the graduating class selects 2 of its members to speak on behalf of the class at commencement. This year, the class selected 2 students who are known throughout the school for their involvement in the life of the school, their good humor, and their warm demeanor. Hyung-Joon and Valerie Ullrich. Joon Kim is a MALD student from Seoul, South Korea, who concentrated his Fletcher studies in human security and international security studies. While at Fletcher, he served as a teaching assistant to Karsten Kowalczyk, professor of international economics, and to Sung-Yoon Lee, the Kim Gu and Korea Foundation assistant professor in Korean studies. Joon is also the co-president of the school's North Korea working group. He holds a bachelor's degree in political science and American studies from Sogang University in Seoul, where he studied as an exchange student in both Thailand and China. Before coming to the Fletcher School, Joon worked for the South Korean government's official aid agency as a field program officer on a provincial reconstruction team in Afghanistan. He has also worked for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees in Thailand, as well as the Korean National Commission for UNESCO in Seoul. He also served 2 years in the South Korean Army. Joon, please come forward.
Thank you for kind and generous introduction, Dean Bosworth. I think I might use this one for my elevator pitch for my job interview. That was really decent introduction. I didn't know I have that impressive background, you know. Once again, thank you, Dean Bosworth, board members, distinguished faculty and staff. Most importantly, without the sacrifice and devotion of our families, attending the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy would not have been possible. On behalf of class of 2013, I'd like to say we really love you and thank you for all the things that you've given us. It's my enormous privilege and honor to stand here today as one of the class speakers of class of 2013. Today, I'd like to talk about why Fletcher education is uniquely unique. Actually, I'm quoting this one from Professor Lee. That's it. My story goes back to the first semester at Fletcher. As you might guess, English is not my first language, obviously. And this was the first experience with American education. What an American education. So everything was quite challenging, honestly. In the first semester, I took a role of force. And as you know, it was tough, just like the title of the course, Force. It started at 7:45 a.m. Yes, 7:45. But I found it later, entire school actually started from 8:15. But only role of force started at 7:45. That was an ugly surprise. But Professor George, we still love you. Yeah. Besides that, taking notes while listening and understanding lecture and hundreds of pages of readings per week were overwhelming, at least me. Even much of the vocabulary from the course were not actually plain English, but more like a poetry style phrases such as war amongst the people, war after war, fog of war, and so on. Sometimes it was more challenging to understand student question than professor lecture. Come on, guys. You know what I'm talking about. From the first semester, language was something I needed to overcome, and I strive hard to meet that challenge. Fortunately, I survived thanks to my study group. Our group showed exactly what Fletcher is all about. We had civilian, military, war mode, diplomacy mode, even development mode like me. We had American, Pakistani, yes, we have some Pakistani, and Russian, Korean, Japanese, and Iranian American. After 3-hour final, all our classmates hugged each other and went out to Mexican food in Till Square. Obviously, we're small, living in the small bubble, so celebrating our collective achievement. That was a real Fletcher moment. Recalling that experience, the Fletcher education is not about competition. Rather, it's all about collaboration. Working with others, coping with different cultural principles within a group was a priceless life lesson for us. The shared spirit of collaboration facilitated our learning and make huge differences in our academic journey. My second story is about the leadership. When I lived in Korea, I used to take a leadership role because my Korean is quite good, even though you don't know, I'm good at it. So I'm really good at persuading the people. So this is joking. However, being a leader in the state, and even Fletcher, seems totally different. Not only language, but also cultural understanding blocked my path. A common challenge faced by international student. I didn't know what resources to utilize and what was available and how to obtain them. More importantly, cultural nuances and diversity within Fletcher community take some time to absorb. So initially, I hesitated about taking a leadership role at Fletcher. However, Fletcher provided endless opportunity for us to be a leader and encouraged us to bravely take the leadership role. It was like an open market. Anyone who has an idea, passion, and a bit of courage could initiate and organize an academic or social event at Fletcher, and student supporters would always come out for the event. Some of us were on Diplomat Live panel or internship panel to share their experience with others. Someone organized an energy conference, another moderated the US-China conference about analyzing the present and predicting the future, even though I'm not sure that the future is going to happen. So some people organized a gender town hall meeting to raise gender awareness within the Fletcher community. Someone could even be an NSYNC or J-pop star or Bangla dancer for culture night to make Fletcher culturally richer. Like this, Fletcher has been such an inclusive community where people support each other, respect the role of both leaders and followers. Based on our community value, we practice leadership and empowered each other to become a true leader in this global arena. I would say this supportive spirit is a secret that makes a Fletcher education so distinctive. I don't think any community can dare match this amazing spirit. It started from 1933, and it's been going on 80 years. Fletcher is not just a good institution. It's a great institution, full of openness, encouragement, and inspirations. A world outside Fletcher is shifting from competition to inclusive collaboration paradigm. Most of global challenges, such as global warming, poverty, arms proliferation, financial crisis, desperately need the cooperation. The Fletcher education paves the road to the new paradigm and teach future leaders like us how to work together and build more inclusive society around the world. This must be the reason why Fletcher Mafia is uniquely unique. However, great institutions become great only when they have great people, because after all, it's all about the people. Undoubtedly, Fletcher has great people like you, and probably me, and those people have a fabulous community, have built a fabulous community. I'm so proud to be in this community with you all. Before closing, class speaker has just 7 or 8 minutes, so I need to close actually. I'd like to emphasize that class of 2013 will remain as the strongest, most influential, and profound class ever in the history of Fletcher. I will tell you why. Because we have 4 legendary individuals with us. Dean Bosworth, Professor Ubin, Professor Muma, and International Student Advisor Carol Murphy. They have tirelessly dedicated their love for Fletcher and about to leave Fletcher with us. But, allegedly saying that they were set to graduate way earlier, but none of them could have finished their thesis. So, until a few weeks ago, so they are now about to graduate. So, all joking aside, please don't forget you're also part of class of 2013. It was such an honor to have you a part of our class. The class of 2013 would continuously shine like a star because of each of you. Last but not least, the remarkable class of 2013. I'd like to send you my sincere congratulations. We finally did it. Don't forget the fact that joining Fletcher Mafia might be of your choosing, right? But there's no option to withdraw from this community. I'm sorry. Fletcher Mafia will follow you wherever you go. So just be ready to meet another members in this small globe, small world. So all of us will miss the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hyung. Valerie Ulrich, a Mauld student from New Hampshire, concentrated her Fletcher studies in political systems and theories and human security. She is a graduate of Middlebury College, where she majored in history and environmental studies. She also spent time studying in Croatia. Last summer, Valerie worked with USAID in Kiev on the Parliamentary Development Project for the Ukraine. Before coming to Fletcher, Valerie served as a youth development volunteer in the Peace Corps in Ukraine. She has also worked with the Global Children's Organization in Bosnia-Herzegovina and is a teacher with AmeriCorps in the Atlanta Public Service School System. Valerie will be joining the United States Foreign Service tomorrow. Valerie, please come forward.
I'm just tall enough for the lectern with my heels on. Thank you, Dean Bosworth, for that gracious introduction. And on Professor Gideon's note of taking a day of rest, I was hoping you could call down to Maine State and make me not report at 7:45 tomorrow morning. I would really appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for the warm welcome and for giving me the opportunity to be up here today. I am humbled to be standing before such an amazing group of people and honored to have been selected to speak. I'd be remiss for failing to thank the deans for their leadership, the faculty for all of their investments in us, and the Fletcher board. Without the board's generosity, I would not have been able to attend Fletcher at all, and so to them I am eternally grateful. I would also like to thank my family, especially my wonderful partner and dearest friend who's finally in the United States. And all of my Fletcher friends, without whom the last 2 years would have been a lot less meaningful. I don't know about anyone else, but while it was a relief to get the email from Nora in the registrar's office that I'd been cleared for graduation, it was also bittersweet. It sometimes seems like we just arrived, picked up our orientation packets, and milled around the Hall of Flags and the mezzanine, juggling coffees and breakfast and obscenely large envelopes, while shaking hands with new classmates and praying to remember just a handful of names. We arrived from all over the world, most of us probably thinking that we were decently intelligent, kind of experienced, but needing to build some skills and create the value added that would transform us into those perfect candidates for our dream employer. I really hope that's going well for everyone, by the way. And we did expand our knowledge. We learned how to work with ArcGIS, struggled through econometrics, and survived intensive modules of DM&E. But somewhere along the way, the value of those hard skills we honed in classes and study groups and late nights in GIN were eclipsed by the informal education that we gave to one another. Most of us ceased being just atomized individuals in pursuit of our own goals and became part of this global Fletcher family that has so much more to offer the world. The world's problems are huge, but since we've spent the last 2+ years dwelling on many of them, I won't go into it here. Whether we're talking about entrenched and expanding economic inequality, any one of a number of active or frozen conflicts in the world, or the profession of natural disasters that are precipitated by global climate change, our problems are complex, and they're serious, and they're difficult to solve. And sometimes our leadership seems spectacularly ill-suited for the task. But it would be disingenuous to blame that situation entirely on personal failings of politicians or corporate executives, however satisfying that may be. Instead, we operate in siloed systems where we're divided by our experience and as a function of race and class and nationality and other characteristics. We go through our days sure of our own experience, knowing our own truths, and often blind to the realities of others who don't experience the world as we do. Our leaders in the public and private sector are similarly human, and so they fall prey to those same tendencies. Many spend a lifetime or a career in a single context, in one nation, in one region, in one industry, pursuing their own interests, and not ambivalent, but perhaps just ignorant of the effects of their actions on others. We tell our own truths to our own groups and consequently fail to confront more objective realities that might actually lead to real solutions. Every once in a while, though, someone crosses over, and there is a moment where progress seems possible. In March, I think it was, when President Obama was in Israel, he had a moment where he went off script, and he was giving a talk in Jerusalem, having been in the West Bank in the morning, and talked for a moment about Palestinian young people who he had spoken with, and their similarities to his own children and to the children of the audience members. His message was simple. These kids are human beings with hopes and dreams, and if you met them, you would want them to have a fair shot at pursuing their aspirations, just as you would want for your own children. His message was met with applause, and as you watch the video, there's this brief moment where there's a feeling of possibility. Nothing will probably come of the president's speech or of his off-script appeal, but it was a powerful reminder of the necessity of something that is sorely lacking in leadership around the world, and that is empathy. And that's where I believe that Fletcher's real value added comes from. It's this place's ability to take an incredibly diverse group of individuals that hail from all over the world, from the global north and the global south, who are Christians and Jews, Muslims and Buddhists, Hindus and atheists, who are black and white and every shade in between, who are gay and straight and bi, and who are each oriented around their own goals and somehow manage to create a community. Over our time here, we hear each other's stories, we meet each other's families, and we begin to prioritize our similarities over our differences. Despite Dean Yuvin's wise warnings on arrival not to take any of our classmates as representative symbols of any aspect of their identity, very good advice, by the way, we nonetheless associate the people we know and respect with these various categories of other that we've known our whole lives, and all of a sudden, the other looks a lot more like us. Over months of bordering on, sometimes in my opinion, too polite discussions in class, organized debates, and less than civil debates on the socialist, we air our thoughts and assumptions, they're challenged, and we're forced to think critically about the views we hold and the policies we advocate. In the process, we become a community, and we develop a level of identification and empathy with others that I personally wish was more prevalent in the world. As you leave Medford tonight, as I will, or tomorrow, or next week, or next month, please take this with you. Hold on to your Fletcher experience and to your willingness to question your own truth, to confront others' realities, and to think seriously about issues of import from all directions. If we all do that, we'll not only bring valuable insights to our governments and our employers, but will likely improve this mess of a world in a little bit along the way. Congratulations to one and all, and thank you again.